Right, well, there we go. Now the recording is going. Hi, everyone. My name is Sonny Grint, and I work with the Singer Sewing Company, and I'm excited to be here with you. Today, I'm all decked out. I'm gonna go like this so you can see my Mrs. Potato Head costume. It's a fun, quick little thing that you can do. All you need is basically a t-shirt of your favorite type of potato. So this, I think I'm a russet potato today. And then a little decorating. We're going to talk about two other costumes. When I started thinking about this, I got very, I would say, punny. And that funny. Anyway, I hope you guys are okay with that. And what basically I did is I saw a little ceiling fan. Now, when I tell everybody, this is probably the hardest one to get over the pun, because I talked about a ceiling fan, but then made this little guy, and I go, hopefully you can see it. It says go ceiling, so I'm a ceiling fan. You can laugh a little bit. I hope you guys are laughing at that. But here's our little ceiling fan. And then behind me, and I'll show this to you a little bit more in the shortly, but I don't know if you can read the FE, and it's on it's actually on a little apron, and I've got the wooden spoon here to go with it. So guess what this one is, everybody? I'll give you a moment. Monet, you can see if anybody types in the chat and figures out what the FE on an apron is. Takes a minute. No one got the ceiling fan earlier in the office. Are they putting it in?
I don't have anyone put in the FE, but everybody thinks Miss Potato Head is super cute.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So the FE is, if you go back to, oh goodness, chemistry, way back when, that's for iron. So I made a little iron chef apron. Again, anyway, so again, a little bit funny. Now, with Mrs. Potato Head, and I've got a Mr. behind, so I'll show that here in a little bit. These are all fast, easy things that you can do. Fun, actually, if you're working with, you can have a whole potato head family if you wanted to, but if you have kids or grandkids, these are fun things to just kind of put around on, that sort of thing. So lots of fun things to do. But I wanted to just talk a minute about the ceiling fan as well as the Iron Chef. Here I use the Singer Memento, and this is something that is available at Michael's if you are interested in this. This is a really great cutting machine. And the beauty of using maybe a heat transfer vinyl, which is what this is, versus fabric or felt, which is what this is and what this is, you get a much cleaner cut. And also it is super fast and easy. So again, the Memento is going to do that for you. That's also, again, what I used here to make my little pennant and do all the writing for me. So I didn't even have to write that. Can you see how nice that is? So it's all super easy to work with. I'm just going to open the Memento here, and I'm going to place that down. And I'm not really going to do any cutting today just because it is a little tricky to see. But what I did is, and Monet, I'm going to actually ask the question of everyone, and then maybe you can tell me, does anyone that's on the call today or on the Zoom class today, have you worked with heat transfer vinyl before? And have any of you ever worked with a cutting machine? I'm not going to belabor this, but I just want to kind of know if you've done this before. So
someone said no.
No? Okay. So again, we're not going to go completely into this, but the cool thing about working with heat transfer vinyl as well as with the Memento is because it is going to cut everything for you. And I'm going to grab my glasses here, everybody. Now it's going to look really funny because I'm going to have glasses and Mrs. Potato Head won't. But with this, I'm just going to place this here. And when you cut your heat transfer vinyl, this is the cool part that I just love is I'm gonna do what's called weeding. And can you see, I know it's probably hard to see, but if I do this, can you kind of see how things are starting to pull away? Can you all see that? How there's my N is coming to life. And can you see how I've got my exclamation mark? This is what is called weeding. Can you see that, Monet? There we go. That's a pretty good shot. Can you see that there? So what you end up doing is I'm just pulling this away. And this is how, once I've got this cut, how easy it is. Isn't that cool? So now I've got fan. And you also see how it is backwards, or actually mirror image. It's really important when you're working with heat transfer vinyl to make it so when you cut it, it cuts backwards, because when you put it here, it's just going to stick right on there and be the right way. So this is how heat transfer vinyl works. So if you guys are, like I said, I'm not going to go do a lot with this, but I wanted you to realize that I could have cut all of these pieces out on fabric. I could have appliqued them. We could have used felt like I did here, which you're going to see in a little bit. But the interesting thing about it is it takes a lot. It does take some time to do that with the scissors, that sort of thing. Whereas here, by just cutting very fast and easy, you've got your letters cut out, and then you just use a press. I'm going to, even if you don't have a cutting machine and you're never going to use heat transfer vinyl, are there any quilters on today? Or do I have any quilters on today? The reason why I'm asking that, there is this new press. It's called can you see how this is a little flat press?
No quilters.
No quilters today? Well, gosh, guys, we got so much to learn, right? That's what's so exciting. This little press, it's actually great for t-shirts as well, but it's just a square press, and truly you heat it up, you press it down, and it works really cool. So these are all things that Michaels has that you can order. This goes up to, I shouldn't say, I had it at 310 degrees, so it actually will go to a certain, a certain degree in Fahrenheit, and just a lot of cool stuff going on. So everyone, just wanted to show you a different option. I'm going to talk about putting all the felt down and different ways to do that. But this option, if you are looking to do a lot of crafting, again, with this little pennant, you can see how easy it is to create something. This is just paper. So to create something with paper and do your writing. Memento, we have a basic software that gives you lots of fonts to work with, that sort of thing. So all of this was done in our basic software. So really fun, fast and easy. There is information on Memento on michaels.com. So do take a look at that if you are interested in cutting. We have done a couple cutting classes. So if you are thinking about it, you can always go back and look at those other classes that we did with cutting as well. So now, this is the first time I've done this, you guys, for those of you who are on and maybe have come to a class with me before. We're starting here. Now I'm actually going to move back to my sewing machine. So I'm just going to take a minute. You're going to see me move, and then we're going to switch cameras. All right. So here we go. I'm going to switch to my sewing machine for just a moment. And now.
Someone did ask a quick
Oh, yeah.
question
Yeah,
before
of
you
course.
go on.
Yeah, of course.
They asked if you iron the vinyl onto paper.
So great question. You're usually not going to you're not going to usually iron vinyl onto paper. I used hold on. See, this is the hazard. We'll come back. Sorry, guys. So like here, this was actually, and you can see it a lot better here. I used a pin. So I actually used a marking pen and went ahead and used the pen with the letters. So I did not. So that was a really great question, and I wasn't clear with that. You can use these pens. They have little fine tip pens like this. And then there is a heavier tip on the other side. So you have two different options. But so I didn't use the vinyl there. The vinyl was used only on the t-shirt itself. And then I cut the pennant and then I used that pen to do the marking. So hopefully that answered the question. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that. You all were just supposed to follow me along. So, but yeah, so really simple with that pen doing that marking. I don't know how many of you have guests over for the holidays. The reason why I say that is there's some really pretty script fonts as well. And so you could use Memento to write out all your like name cards, that sort of stuff, make people think you have beautiful handwriting. I have awful handwriting. So for me, it is better off not to do that handwriting. No one can read what I have. So any other questions, Monet?
No other questions.
Okay, all right. So as I mentioned, I keep going the wrong way here, everybody. As I mentioned, with the Iron Chef, what I want to do, I'm going to kind of disrobe my dress form here and just bring this up so you can see it a little better. So again, you can see now it's just a little apron. You can find aprons like this at Michael's. You could make one, but I had this one that I had purchased and it's like, oh, fast, quick, and easy to do this. And this is felt. So again, using felt, all I did to get ready for these classes is I went to Michael's, got a bunch of different colors of felt and said, okay, now what do I get to do? So this was kind of cool in that with the FE for the Iron Chef, I used, and I'm going to turn this around, a little zigzag stitch. Can you all see that? So a little zigzag stitch and just pin this in place. Last week, this is on YouTube, so you can go back and check it out. Last week we did kids' last minute Halloween costumes. And one of the ones that everyone loved was we made a little strawberry. So we had just a red shirt and put on little seeds, yellow felt seeds. There was a really great question and it made me rethink a little bit on what I wanted to talk with you guys about today. The question last week was, okay, so I've got a red shirt and I put on these beads. Can I take those off and sew my shirt or whatever I have, I can reuse it? Well, if you look here, and again, that little zigzag stitch. Okay, so I got that little zigzag stitch. This stitch is super easy to take out. Okay, so this is super easy to take out. I was not planning on doing this, so I don't have a seam ripper. I'm very sorry about that. But what I'm going to do is you just can put your seam ripper right underneath the zigzag, and then it just pulls right out. So then you can reuse whatever you're using easily. There are like iron-on webs or glue that a lot of people will want to use. And I never really recommend that if you want to take it off again. So I pinned these so that I wouldn't have to worry about, if I'm going to use the apron later, I don't have to worry about having like the iron-on web or glue or anything underneath it. Does that make sense, everybody? So use a little bit different stitch, zigzag rather than straight stitch for this. And then it comes out super easy. Okay, so there's not a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk about, you know, putting felt on the t-shirt here in just a moment on my Mr. Potato Head. But there isn't a lot to really talk about, except if you want to reuse your apron without the FE on it, so without the iron on it, you want to not use glue or fusible web and use a stitch length that's a little bit further apart. Okay? So any questions on that one, Monet?
No questions.
No questions. I think everyone should have an Iron Chef in their life. I think this is so fun. So we had a lot of people that in our office that went by and looked at this really funny. So if you figure this out right away, you are one of the quick ones. So, all right. So now to go with Mrs. Potato Head, I did make a Mr. Potato Head. So I feel like I'm the russet potato, and then my husband is now he's missing an eye. We're gonna put that eye on here in just a minute. But then my husband's gonna be the Idaho potato. So we've got a couple different potatoes here. But can you see how I did? I'm gonna come in close here so you guys can see. Can you see how there's a little decoration in the middle of the lips, right? So I just used a zigzag stitch. Any decoration that you want to do on the felt, do that before you sew it onto the t-shirt. Okay, so do that before. So I'm going to see if I can do this gracefully here. Can you guys see? So I've got my little, here we've got our eye, and I put on little eyelashes. I put on a button for the center for the pupil. And then I just had some little fun decorations. So I even made her earrings. So kind of however you want to do it. There's nothing that is essential with this. This is the fun part about Halloween costumes. So same thing here is, if you look, I just kept his eye a little bit more normal. I did put a mustache on him, and I trimmed this up. So the mustache is a little fuzzy. And then with the lips, again, put something in the middle. So I'm going to go to my machine now after all that. Hopefully you guys are having a little fun with this, because this was like, I loved making these costumes. It was really fun that way. So we're going to start by creating his eye. Okay, so we're going to start by creating his eye. So I'm going to move to my machine. All right. And with his eyelid, okay, so with his eyelid, let me move this just to, hopefully you're going to be able to see. With his eyelid, I used a zigzag stitch to put on the eyelid to the eye. And then I sewed on my button, but I used my machine to sew on my button. How many of you realize that you can use a sewing machine to sew on a button? Hopefully a couple of you maybe. But if you don't, I'm going to show you how you do this today.
We have a couple people say yes.
Yes, wonderful. That's so cool. So I'm just going to use a zigzag stitch, which is what I chose, but I'm going to make it quite small as far as the width. So that's my width. So how wide the stitch is, I took it down to 2 millimeters, and my length is about 2 as well. That really ends up being a personal preference, everybody. So it really is kind of whatever you like. So let's go back to our machine. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, and I'm all set up. And today, by the way, I am using the Singer Heavy Duty 6700C. The C stands for computerized. And so the beauty of a computerized machine is, again, I didn't have to mess around with you know, I can see kind of what the stitch is going to be. I can keep my length and width automatic if I want it to be, and let's zoom in just a little bit more. So there we go. And the other wonderful thing about this is there was a little button, and I'll show it when I come back. This button will always let me stop with my needle in the down position. And I knew I would do it. Those of you who said, yes, you do know about sewing on a button. What do you do with your feed dogs when you sew on a button? You drop them. And I was practicing yesterday, and so I dropped them and I forgot. So here we go. And all I'm going to do again is go along the edge. And the beautiful thing is with that needle down is now I can make adjustments. You see that? I can make adjustments when I put that needle down. All right. So at this point, half my work is done because I now have, let's zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now I've got his eyelid on. And the next step is really to put on, sew on the button. And so there's my little button that we've got going on there. And when we sew on a button, everybody, this is where I am going to change my thread color. So let's zoom out just so you can maybe see this a little bit more. I mean, it's not, certainly all of you have different machines, but when I thread my heavy duty here, just going to change to a black thread. And so place that on. And then I'm just going to follow the instructions that are actually on my machine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if any of you, so now let's get back down here. If any of you have a needle threader on your sewing machine at home that you pull down like this and use that as a needle threader, I'm going to zoom in so you can see that here better. But I'm going to give you a little tip. And this tip is to actually put your presser foot down. So the presser foot is down. What that does is that gives you tension on your thread, and it will help you when you are threading the needle. So just a little tip for any of you who have machines with needle threaders like this 6700C. So now I'm just going to bring this around my little catch. And here's my other tip is notice, see how I pulled the thread into underneath where the eye of the needle is, and I've got the thread pulled forward. I know that it's caught on the little wire that is going to pull the loop through. You'll see that loop, it pulls the loop through, and now raise your presser foot, and now your needle is threaded. Again, many of you I know that, but I don't know how many people I have worked with. There we go. That struggle with that needle threader, and gosh, I can't live without it. So again, make sure you put your presser foot down, and then when you use the needle threader, make sure you bring that through like that. Okay, any questions about that, Monet?
No questions so far.
All right. So I am going to now, and I want to zoom in really on this a lot. And the reason why I want to zoom in is this is the other piece about using, putting your buttons on is you want to drop your feed dogs, right? So if you watch, the feed dogs are just going to go right down. So now they are underneath, so that's important. And then we're going to put on our button sew-on foot. So this is our button sew-on foot. And most of our Singer machines, not all, but most of our Singer machines come with this. And if you don't have one with your machine, you certainly can purchase them. So again, it's a sew-on button foot. All right. So I'm almost ready, and I'm going to show you how to set up your machine once I put this down. There we go. So you can see how that's all pretty much ready to go. So if I now zoom out just a little, and I'm going to come way back over here. All right. With all of these different stitches, if your machine is, if it does not have a sew-on button stitch, which I'm going to show you where it is here, you're going to use a zigzag stitch. I still, even though my feed dogs are dropped, I still like to take my stitch length really close together as I can. And the stitch width, okay, so again, stitch width is going to be about a 4 for most. So stitch length close together, it still is, I just like to do that habit in case I do forget to drop my feed dogs. And then my stitch width usually 4 for most buttons. But here's the beauty about our computer machine. Down here, there are lots of different stitches, extra stitches. So I've got an alphabet, I've got some beautiful decorative stitches, but what I really wanted to show you is here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. If any of you have ever wondered what in the world the stitch that really it looks like a button, it has 2 little dots in it, that is your sew-on button stitch. So with this already there, it's actually in menu 2 and it's stitch number 21. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to menu number 2. So it shows menu 2 and stitch number 21. So I just press 21 and it has everything set up for me. And if you look here, it is saying 3.5 for my stitch width. So I said 4. Once you have it set, and by the way, I don't want to make you woozy, but anyone who maybe has this machine or is thinking about it, that little icon, it's telling us to put our feed teeth down. So they're showing us, drop your feed dogs for this particular technique. All right, so let's zoom into this again. All right, and I think you guys can see that really very well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and do this by hand. Now, right now, I'm not set up because my needle is not going in the eye, in the eye of the button, right? So we have to make an adjustment. So that's why you want to take a little time. And I think you can see that. And so I'm going to, and I'm still not, gosh. There we go. So now my needle just went down. I was using my hand wheel. And because I chose the sew-on button foot, it's just going to pop that right over to the proper sides. And did you notice it tied off at the end, which is great. So I was so close. Let's pull this out just a little bit. And now Mr. Potato Head is going to have 2 eyes. So there we go. All right. So I'm I have to admit, I am a sew-on button person on machine, so I think it's really great. All right. So the last thing that we're gonna do, so let's come back here for just a minute. The last thing that we're gonna do, oh, good, I see, I actually just saw, from Kathy. Is there a program for, a 4-hole button? And actually, Kathy, it's the same program. Okay, it's the same program. What I'll do is, I don't have a 4-hole button with me, but I'm going to show you how it's done just on a piece of fabric like this, okay? So let's go back to our machine. And you know what? Monet, can I ask for your help for just a moment? Or actually, I think I can get there without causing too many problems. Oh, except for that. All right. Well, I just did cause myself a problem. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you,
But you cannot see me because I just think I unplugged my camera. Let's try. Here we go. Or there we go. Or there we go. Hey. I think maybe now I found it. No? No? Oh, okay. So the recording, I see we're still recording. We've still got so many things happening. And of course, it had to stop. So let's see here. Sorry, everybody. Gotta love those technical difficulties. We'll try one more time here. That's what I did is I hit this. Okay, so I know you guys can't see me. I'm not crying yet, but I could be soon. All right, so let's see here. Oh, it was as simple as that, I think. So Black Magic. I think that, there we go. All right. Hi, again. Never try things in the middle of a class like this. I was going to try and get a button from right over here, but what I will do is I will go ahead and show you without a button. So you guys are going to have to imagine a 4-hole button for me. I don't want to lose you again. So I still have, so menu to, it was 21. So I still have my same stitch, the one for the double, the one for just this, the one with a single button, right? So the one that has just the single button holes, the 2 button holes, all right? Oh goodness, you always get flustered when things like that happen. So there's my regular 2-hole button stitch. What you end up doing is, so I'm just gonna, like I said, we're gonna simulate this. And Kathy, I'm sorry, I lost you there for that moment, but I don't have that button, but we're still gonna go ahead and do this. You're gonna align everything. So you're gonna align everything here on the first. So on the first of those 2 holes, right? So I'm gonna do that same. Here we go. I've got my needle down in the first hole. Ties off. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're just going to very carefully, you do it this way, you're going to very carefully lift and you're just going to scoot. So truly you just scoot this back just a little bit and you do the exact same thing. Now this is your next set of 2 buttons. All right. And now, so then it ends up just looking like that on your button. So you do one set. And obviously, if I had a real button there, I would have been in trouble because see how it's a little crooked, but you just scoot it up and do your next set. And sometimes people will, start at the front and work back to front, but it really is that easy, Kathy. It's super simple to do it. You just have to rearrange for your next set of buttons or your next set of holes. All right. So it really is not hard to do a 4-hole button. Just want to make sure that you want to make sure that you align properly. So that's the only thing. So great question. Sorry about the technical for a minute. I kicked a plug and caused myself some pain, but we're back. So that's good. Was there anything else? Pivot at each hole to secure it 4 ways. You certainly could. You have to be careful just with your, well, actually the width should be okay. I have had people want to do the cross in a 4-hole button. That you have to change your width for because the distance between the diagonal sides are also are a little bit different. So you do want to make sure that you if you're doing it crossways, you adjust your distance, your width appropriately. All right. So yeah, you could do a lot of different things. You could make a little square. You can have all sorts of fun with that. Okay, so now, actually, it's probably better than I'm here. So hopefully you can see so here we are with Mr. Potato Head. And I need to make sure that, and by the way, I am going to use these this year on my, at a little Halloween party. So I want to make sure he's kind of straight. This is where, if you are going to leave, if you don't want to use your t-shirt again, right? If this is always going to be Mr. Potato Head, you can certainly use some fusible web behind and fusible web on the felt. And then when you place it here, you're going to iron it down and it will be secure for you. And you could even use a little glue, whatever it is. So fabric glue works also very well. And then you can always have this down. But if you want to take off your Mr. Potato Head, if you want to take that off, then you're not going to use the fusible web or glue. You're just going to pin it well and then straight stitch. All right. So I'm going to come back to my machine. So come back here. And I want to make sure I raise my presser feet or my feed dogs for my presser feet. So I want to make sure I raise that. And then I'm going to put on my normal sewing foot. Normal sewing foot. I am going to do a quick change of thread color because I want to use white thread. So just do a quick change on that. And press the foot down through the needle and pull it forward. So, and that goes right through the eye of the needle. Now, I'm still over here. I'm still on my button sew on. So I want to choose a straight stitch this time. So just a normal straight stitch. With the straight stitch, normally it comes up at a 2.5 stitch length. That's your average stitch length. This is again, last week, it was like an aha moment for me. So thank you guys who either were here last week but I want to use my t-shirt again. I'm actually going to take my stitch length longer. So I want to take it, I took it up to, excuse me, I'm in menu. There we go. I want to get back to menu 1. And I'm going to take my stitch length up to 4 millimeters. And that is a lot longer stitch. And because it's a lot longer stitch, it will be easier to remove. Last week for those little seeds, I ended up, I'm just going to use my machine as I ended up with those little seeds doing a 2.5 stitch length. And when I did that, what happened is it was much harder to get out. So again, it does depend on your stitch length, will depend upon what your use is, what you want to use your t-shirt for afterwards. Again, I got these, little t-shirts like this. You can find them at Michael's, and then you've got just a nice quality t-shirt. And let's get that down. I'm trying to keep my hands away. I am being a little bit careful with my pinning because I want to make sure I don't pin the back of my t-shirt, which I did one time. So guess what? I was very happy I had a long stitch length so I could take out what I had messed up. So here we go. All right. So now, at this point, I know some of you may be wondering about taking off my accessory tray and using the free arm for this. Honestly, I left my tray on. And the reason why is I need it. These are very nice quality, but soft t-shirts. And so because of that, they're really comfy. But what can happen is if you don't have the support, they kind of fall down, they pull down. So I used I did have to be aware, and I'm using my accessory tray on to give me some more support. Now, let's go ahead, and I'm just going to start. And again, wonderful thing about computerized machines like this is as I'm sewing here, when I get to a point I have to adjust, I can tap my foot control or I can use the button on the front. And it's going to put that needle down. And what that does is it allows me to almost have like a third hand, which is fabulous. Okay, and needle down and making sure, notice making sure everything is in the right spot, that I don't have the back underneath. And now I'll take a couple more stitches. Press her foot up and then down. And again, everyone, if you have kids, grandkids, this particular little costume and the thought process behind it is think about having your children, grandkids, whomever, helping you with this. What a fun, just like Mr. Potato Head. We can find different things, make up different things out of felt, and then you can do all sorts of things with it. So just right on the edge. Oh, and I got a little bit off the edge. Okay. Want to make sure that I'm removing pins that are going to be in my way. So I want to be a little bit careful with that. Tap that foot. Almost to the end. I'm just gonna go right over a couple. I am going to use a little tie-off feature. I just did a little tie-off you could have reversed. And yep. So we'll see how well I did about how this is done. Yay. All right, I think we're gonna make a really cute couple as we go Halloween trick-or-treating, right? But there we go. So the thing with anything that you're doing like this with the felt, again, I did the eyelashes, the earrings, all that sort of stuff. Do that ahead of time so you can make sure that you have it how you like. Then you kind of put it in place. If you ever are looking to reuse the t-shirt, then you do not want to glue, or you do not want to use a like a fusible mesh, that sort of thing. And if you do want to reuse the t-shirt, please make sure you're making your stitch length a little bit longer, or use kind of a long zigzag stitch, and then it's easy to use your seam rippers on that. So Monet, any questions? Did any questions come up?
I am not seeing any question.
Did you guys have fun with this? I had so much fun with this. I hope you got some inspiration, a little punniness as we went through, as far as I know I'm not gonna be up here, but there's our ceiling fan over there. So make sure that, you can do all sorts of fun little things with that. Any other thoughts or questions, everybody? We're gonna close a little bit early today, I think, unless you have questions for me. I'm gonna kind of open it up if you have any questions about the machines or different things like that. If you don't, I see a smiley face. Again, I hope you had a little fun. I just couldn't, I had my whole sewing room was potato head things. So it was really fun to do that. So get people involved, have a little bit of fun, fast, easy to do for you for the holidays and for Halloween. And also do remember, please, if you are looking for a machine, Singer has a whole grouping with Michaels of heavy duty machines. And so they're great to do your Halloweening with, but also when you're getting ready for Thanksgiving or any of the, holidays coming up, great machines for that time of year. So if there are no other questions, I think I'm going to close. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week. I think we're doing is it next week or the week after? It's so the week after, we're starting to get into the rest of the fall holidays. So anyway, take care, guys. Thank you very much.